All right, hello everybody. Zack Shaffer here, and I'm here with Professor Dale DeNardo, and we're actually visiting something like, to me this is like one of the best things, the most authentic Arizona State things you can visit, which is the albino rattlesnake. And so we can see the albino rattlesnake here. We'll zoom in a second so we get some footage. Professor, what can you tell us about the albino rattlesnakes here?
Well, they originated from an animal caught out near Buckeye back in the mid-'80s. And we had that animal for over 20 years.
No way.
25 years.
Mid-'80s. That was
yeah.
What was his name?
Hector.
Oh, Hector. That's right, Hector.
Most
yeah.
of these animals don't have names.
Hector.
The Diamondbacks have names.
Okay, yeah.
Because they're so popular.
So Hector was here since the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
so
that's
Hector,
crazy.
and we know that, I mean, he's the only known albino rattlesnake from Arizona versus... there have been some in Texas and whatnot. I mean, he was also very popular. People knew him.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
I mean, to me, he's almost symbolic. I mean, like on homecoming weekends, football, I mean, sometimes you see dozens, hundreds of people coming in here to see the albino rattlesnake. But he died.
Yeah, he had spinal issues. We had to put him to sleep. But before that, luckily, well in advance, we thought about, we got to keep this legacy going because it is kind of a souls, even pre-souls.
So how did you
zoology department then biology.
So how did you do it?
So first we had to get a wild type animal.
Okay.
And actually she's in the corner over there. And bred her to that male. To Hector.
We'll zoom in here.
That's Lucy over there.
Yeah. So
and we bred those, and of course with all that work trying to breed them, all you get is more of the same wild types. Right? They carry the albino gene, but they don't have it. So then we had to raise those offspring up. Actually, it was Lucy's mom, and then that was produced. Yeah, was the first breeding.
Okay.
And this is Lucy, who was from that first. It was a neonate from that first breeding.
I see.
Who is heterozygous. She maintains the albino gene, but if you look at it, she looks perfect.
So Lucy was the daughter of Hector, and then a wild type.
And a wild type.
She just looked like a normal rattlesnake. Okay.
And so Lucy comes out looking like a normal rattlesnake.
Okay, so she's a heterozygote. So she's basically a carrier.
She's a carrier.
So she has one copy of the recessive allele. Like we're in the unit on genetics. This is a perfect thing to talk about. So she's a carrier, but she has a normal functioning wild type allele, so you would never know. Look at her.
You look at her, you have no idea.
Okay, all right.
So we raised her up, took a few years, bred her again, and then we produced the 3 albinos, and the only live snakes were 3 albinos, no wild types. Where you'd expect greater numbers.
But this gets a little icky here.
Yes, it gets very icky.
Okay, so Lucy is the daughter of Hector and the other female, but then Lucy. You had mated with Hector.
With Hector.
So basically, you put her with her own father snake. It's kind of, so the father has 2 copies of the recessive allele, and then the daughter has 1 copy.
Exactly.
So you would expect 50%. 50% of the offspring should have been albino, and 50% should have been wild type.
Just like their mother.
Just like
carrying the gene, looking wild type.
But of the offspring you had.
We had all albinos.
All albinos. Okay. Yes. I mean, it's possible. Like if you flip a coin, it's like a coin flip, right?
Getting 3 heads in a row, type of thing.
Interesting.
But it was really good for us.
Yeah, it's good.
We were surprised.
So this meant that ASU could keep, like, if something happened to Hector, you would have albino rattlesnakes.
Yes, with age. And so there we raised those 3 up. We have this one, Joey, which is a male. He has a sister, which is Dee Dee, and she's off exhibit to have as a backup. And then Johnny is the other male, his brother, and that's at Phoenix Zoo.
Oh, Phoenix Zoo.
Phoenix Zoo has it to display.
And can we see any of the other family members today?
And then this recent year, these 2 bred.
They bred, okay.
And we produced, again, 5 offspring, 2 of them stillborn, 3 of them live. All of them albino.
But now this is like, I feel like I'm going to get into like Game of Thrones. Recording, but come on through,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's almost like Game of Thrones territory. You watch Game of Thrones, the Targaryens?
No,
they're super inbred. So I mean, so Joey is mated with his own mother. So it's like there's like many layers of inbreeding here. It's like it gets really gross. It's like I mean, I was actually born in Arkansas, so I'm always happy for you.
Familiar.
You know you're a redneck, Joe. You know you're a redneck.
Your mother, your
mother
aunt,
is
your sister
also
is all the same
Your
person.
mother is also your mother is also your cousin, or I don't know. Yeah. So Joey's mother is also his mate. Okay. But you're trying to increase the proportion of these recessive alleles.
Trying to get more albino animals to back it up.
But
in fact, this year we didn't intentionally breed them. They were in here. They actually bred on exhibit.
They bred on their own. Okay.
Cooling them.
But do you worry about the fact that, I mean, you are intentionally getting the albino gene to become more common, but do you worry that you might also be selecting for other, like, harmful, deleterious alleles?
We would if we planned on going many generations out.
Oh, I see.
We're only planning really to go this, like, F1/F2.
Okay.
Some of them, and that's it. And so, we just want to get some more albinos and just have those. We're not trying to produce lots of albinos over and over and over again progressively at generations, because yes, that would bring out, like, albino was a uncommon gene.
Right, but there might be some other harmful alleles. But it makes me wonder when you mentioned the stillborn, or that they were eggs but they never hatched. Is that what happened?
Well, they're born live.
Oh, they're born live.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So these were developed into look like they're snakes, but just one was fully developed, but dead at birth, and the other one was about half size, so died. Somewhat into development. So, and the year in between last year we didn't try and breed them, and we produced, but that year we did get 3 wild types and 2 albinos.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
we have to draw out the whole pedigree.
It's probably, but
you sent me that info.
There's been a really bizarre, if it is flipping coin 50-50,
you're getting a lot of heads.
We're getting a lot of heads. And
interesting. I might just zoom in. Let's zoom in so we can see him there. Let's see. Here we go. A little close up for our students. Oh, there he is. So this is Joey. There he is. It's a beautiful.
The question for your students is: do they understand the relevance of Joey, Johnny, and Dee Dee?
No. Where does that come from?
This should be a test question.
Joey. Where does that come from?
Ramones.
Oh, the Ramones.
So my students want to name. I don't like naming animals, so I joke when they name them. I said, nope, they can only be named if they're named after Ramones.
But there were 4 Ramones.
Yeah, but the drummer is Marky or Tommy. They vary. So these three primary Ramones last the whole time.
That's great. So can we take a look at the new babies?
Yeah, we can go look at and see what the babies
I'll just we'll make a little edit. Okay, so we're going to edit. We're going to see the babies. See you in a sec, guys. Okay, so Professor DeNardo, you're going to take us into this is one of your rooms where you keep your reptiles and snakes.
Yeah, that's one of the rooms, particularly where we keep our venomous animals.
Oh, venomous animals. Oh, okay. I see the sign. Like the sign says, restricted entry. Okay, here we go. Let's check it out. Whoa. Oh man, do you guys hear that? Oh geez, listen to that.
Yeah, everything on this rack are rattlesnakes.
Can you guys hear that? It's like that. It's a lot of rattling. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to hold the camera. That is a lot of pissed off rattlesnakes.
They're happy, they're wagging their tail.
Oh my god. Do you guys hear that?
Unrelated to this, there's a bunch of heel monsters.
Oh, whoa.
We have a large number of both heel monsters.
Oh man, another venomous animal. Whoa, beautiful. But these guys are quiet. Their tails are like fat reservoirs.
Yeah, big fat reservoirs.
Oh wow.
Another story for another day.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. This is like, I'm gonna have to hold the camera here for a second. This is like rattlesnake ASMR. Yeah. So they'll be like, let's just have a moment and we'll just like silently meditate on the sound of rattlesnakes. Okay, yeah. So tell us about what we're going to see here. So
what we have is these are all animals in our studies, but the offspring from some of these are some normal ones from a female that we brought in from the wild to escape birth. So that's a normal wild type. And we have a few cages of the offspring from this year from both Joey and Lucy.
So they won't come flying out at us?
Well, that's our hope.
Yeah.
But we have
look at the little guy.
we have equipment to make sure of it.
Yeah.
So they're born quite large.
Beautiful. Look at little. Is that a girl, boy, or male or female?
This one is a female.
Oh, so cute. She's so pretty.
And you
got
see,
little...
as babies, they have a lot more of the pattern. That'll fade.
Oh
as they go
yeah,
older.
so that you could the melanistic pattern. You can see it.
Yeah.
The diamondback. She's such a cutie. Oh, this is a little cage. So you have a little holder. You can pick her up, or without.
We can.
You don't need to. I don't want to bother her.
Just I can grab
Just
her.
In case she lunges for me or something. Yeah. You know that actually.
Lunge for freedom.
That actually happened when I visited Jake Brashears or Ali Brashears, and I was helping to feed the boas, and like this giant one came out of the cage at me. It was terrifying, and then he had to intervene and like grab it. It was really scary.
They're very food motivated.
Yeah.
Anything of food.
Oh, look at that. She's a little sweetheart. Look at that.
Right now, she's doing a job. She's trying to rattle, but they're born with only one segment, so they can't make any noise. They're very faint.
So as they get older, it gets bigger?
Each time they shed, they get a segment to it.
Oh, it's like a tree ring or something.
It's like in many ways a tree ring, except unlike a tree ring, eventually the end breaks off correctly, so you just can't count rings,
Oh, interesting. But I got to ask a question here. Now, I noticed that in the downstairs in the rattlesnake enclosure, in a recent year, the Arizona Diamondbacks, that's our baseball team, made a run in the playoffs, and it was all decorated. Now, who was behind that? Were you behind that, Professor DeNardo?
I had nothing to do with it except for give permission for it. It is from the advising group, right, that have the graduate students.
Oh, I wondered.
Right there.
I thought that was so funny. I would walk by that and they would have the updates on how the baseball team was doing. I thought that was so funny.
Also, when Hector, the original albino, passed away, they put up a big sign.
Oh, yeah.
Hector, and we even had Kirsten Sinema, our senator, tweeted R.I.P. Hector and had a picture of
I mean, that's how important.
So exactly.
That's how important the albino rattlesnake is for ASU.
I'm sure it was some staff member, but on her official.
Oh, wow! So even a U.S. senator was tweeting about the death of Hector. Wow.
Hector and missing Hector.
Oh, but at least we know under your care that the albino rattlesnake line of ASU is well and healthy.
Yeah.
But you said you get a really large number of much more albinos than you'd expect according to Mendelian genetics.
Yeah, you'd expect half and half.
Right.
But we've gotten, they've produced between the different female offspring between breeding an albino to a wild type carrying the gene.
Should be 50-50.
It should be 50-50, but we're probably at 4 to 1 at least.
Whoa.
And not just one litter. 4 to 1 for one litter. That's 5 flips of a coin. Yeah, you can have 4 heads and 1 tail, but when you start going.
What's going on with that?
5 offspring and that ratio.
That's crazy.
You wonder whether it's not just a single gene. To produce melanin, it's a series of enzymatic
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
In theory, you could have 2 genes in that original male that are.
Might be he was a double. It might be he was a double albino.
Yeah. So he's so that when you breed them back, you can and if the female carries both of those.
That would make sense.
And when she bred the albino. At least one of those, if one of those.
So it's like an epistasis.
Albino, it would still be albino.
And we talk about this in the course, actually. If it was epistasis, if there were several steps, that where there was a broken protein or broken step. Interesting.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you science. You never know what you're going to find, right?
Right. The obvious isn't always the obvious.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yep. Thank you so much for the tour. And they're just she's very precious. We should. I feel like rattlesnakes in general are misunderstood and mistreated, and we should try to appreciate them more.
They definitely are I mean, they're one of the few animals in the wild that give you a really good warning. Most snakes will bite. Most kind of snakes in the world.
Yeah, they let you know. They let you know.
Rattle. They don't rattle for their prey. If they see a rodent going by, they don't rattle.
You're right. They're giving you a fair warning.
The idea that a rattlesnake rattled to you is them being generous.
Yeah, you're right. I think we should respect that. And
they have an important role in they have the biggest biomass of any predator in our deserts.
Really?
So if you add up all the way to coyotes versus all the way to rattlesnakes, there'll be more rattlesnakes.
So they're a bigger predator in terms of what they're consuming.
Yeah.
Whoa, so important.
So
maybe in keeping down certain rodent pest species.
Stuff around the yards, but in the desert, that's where they live, and they don't come. People go, oh, it came in. They don't. They sit there. They hold their ground, just like we saw the baby. We opened it. She didn't come flying out. She coiled and says, "You stay back. I'll stay back, and we're good." And so, in the wild, people go, what do I do when I see a rattlesnake? I say, take a step back and then enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Unlike a bird that might fly away or a coyote that runs off, they'll be there and you can watch them do what they're doing.
That's great. I think I'm going to have to come back here with a recorder and we'll record just the sound of rattlesnakes, and then we'll put those on the website and our students can meditate to rattlesnake ASMR. But Professor DeNardo, I just want to thank you and thanks again for the tour. So interesting, and really appreciate it. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, Professor DeNardo.
You're welcome.